I've always been a huge advocate of tabletop games. I've played Warhammer 40k since 3rd edition, but when Age of Sigmar was released, I dove into the rich and awesome world of Warhammer Fantasy and never looked back. I have 3 massive Sigmar armies and enjoy the game immensely. I've always wanted an RTS that took place in the Warhammer universe, but at the same time was easy to understand and grasp. The developers over at Frontier have introduced a new game in the RTS genre, and I was lucky enough to get an early preview. Does Warhammer Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin scratch that fantasy itch I've been having for the last 10 years?
The enemy are finished! The battle is over!
Or do the Chaos winds blow heavy against it?
I'm elected, boss. We're done.
Find out in our preview. I've always been a fan of RTS games. Growing up at the peak of the genre, Warcraft grabbed me instantly. I've yet to find another RTS franchise to hook me the same way, until I got my hands on Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin. Realms of Ruin takes the best parts of an RTS, the Age of Sigmar tabletop game, and combines them into a fun, tactical, and accessible RTS. One of the most accessible real-time strategy games I've played in years.
We can't let them get the magic no what!
The game features a robust campaign mode full of in-game cutscenes and full voice acting. You follow a squad of Stormcast Eternals, scouting the mortal realms to retake the Wild Lands. In the name of Sigmar, of course.
Commander, there is a stench of death about this place. Not just from the Aurochs.
Death comes for everyone. Eventually.
Fans of the tabletop game will recognize units like Liberators, Vanguard Hunters, and Stormdrake Guard, to name a few, as you press your way forward, defeating monsters and the Auric war clans.
Gar waxes. The magic of wilds and beasts grows stronger.
While the campaign is certainly a nice thing to experience for new and old players stepping into the fantasy world of Warhammer for the first time, the game takes an interesting approach to the real-time strategy genre as a whole. With its PvP, which features both 1v1 and 2v2 modes, the Versus mode is what really caught my attention.
For the God King, glory to Sigmar!
The PvP mode had me think back to my Warcraft 3 days. However, Frontier has put some interesting mechanics and designs in Realms of Ruin that make its identity unique. First off, the PvP mode tasks you to control 3 objectives on the map. Controlling these objectives yields victory points, up to 750. You win by controlling more objectives than your opponent. Your victory points will slowly decrease if you have less objectives than your enemy. The first team to reach 0 loses, and the other player is declared the winner. This definitely opens up more tactics than just wiping your opponent off the board, one that quickly grew on me as well.
Our troops are securing important ground.
Building is also different in Realms of Ruin. Rather than have a base you build out, there are key points on the map that allow you to build structures. You gain control of these points simply by having units near them. Once they're taken, you'll generate an arcane resource called Command. This is a resource you use to build units and use unique abilities. The second resource is called Realmstone, which is used to upgrade armor, weapons, and abilities of your units.
A vein of Realmstone has been tapped.
While the captured points passively generate command, you can build multiple different structures that have unique purposes on said point. You can build a defensive spire that hammers enemies with projectiles, or construct a healing tower that pulses and restores health to units nearby. Every structure generates both resources, so it's purely up to you what you want to build. Some players may not like the fact that you can only build on predetermined locations, but I thought it was a welcome change to the genre. The most interesting part of Realms of Ruin is its speed. While it's slower than other RTS games like Warcraft 3, it's much faster than games like Total War. Moving your units around the map is just fast enough not to be overwhelming, but not slow enough to be annoying. Combat is also interesting, as once the unit is engaged in melee combat, the only way to get out is to issue a retreat command, which costs resources. Once a retreat is issued, the unit will be unstoppable and rush back to your command base, where you can spend resources to heal up and regroup for a counterattack.
Retreat, now!
It's an interesting design, one that I welcome, as I spent years getting killed in Warcraft 3 due to my poor positioning or becoming trapped due to my own units or my enemies. If there was one standout for Realms of Ruin, I'd have to say it's its accessibility. RTS games can be very overwhelming and complex, with lots of macroing unit special abilities. While Realms of Ruin has that macro for sure, it doesn't feel overwhelming at all. And with a max unit size of 12 units to a map, It makes it that much easier to control your forces. It didn't take me long to tab units, select abilities, and cast spells. It felt fluid and natural, but most importantly, not overwhelming.
We can't let them get the magic no what. Losing our magic no what.
There's a core pillar system in Realms of Ruin. Each unit has one of 3 icons, a shield, sword, and bow. Bows are strong against swords, shields are strong against bows, and swords are strong against shields. It's a simple system to understand, but a layer of tech tree upgrades, much like any good RTS game, can increase your tactics even more. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the game has controller support, which is rad. The last time I used a controller for an RTS was Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth. It's always a good sign when I'm wanting to play more of a game, and with Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin, I did. While the preview build only had 2 factions to play as, the Stormcast and the Orcs, Frontiers mentioned there'd be 4 factions at launch. I'm hoping for the Gravelords, but we'll see. If you're in the market for a fantasy RTS that tries different things and is accessible, you should definitely keep an eye out for Realms of Ruin. For more video previews and everything else gaming related, you're already in the right place. You're on Shacknews.com.